Almost every financial services firm out there is trying to optimize for answer engines. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can start with a robots.txt file. There's so much to be done with answer engine optimization, so much of content out there to teach you how to do it. But I want you to have a base level understanding of how these LLMs actually work, because that is important to understand as you try to optimize your business to show up in search. First, let's just go through this quick chart here just to show you how adoption looks like today in the US. It was at 8% in 2023. Today it's at 38%. My guess is it's going to be at 70% by next year. I don't think that's too far-fetched. So there is a clear need to optimize for answer engines. But what is realistic? What is actually technically feasible? That is not fully certain yet because the model companies themselves don't fully understand how LLMs work because of the black box nature. Let's touch on a brief history of the robots.txt file and also the LLMs.txt, which is a new protocol that was proposed in 2024. This is not a new phenomenon. If you've worked in SEO for 10 minutes, you know what I'm talking about when I mentioned the robots.txt file. This was developed in 1994 to prevent search engine bots from overwhelming slow servers. Back then, they didn't have tons of server capacity like the way we have now, right? And so it functioned as a sort of guardrail to kind of give crawlers a guidance on what information they can access and what they cannot. Like, you don't want web crawlers to be looking at your admin page or your login page, right? Those are sensitive web pages that you don't want AI accessing that, right? That became the official internet standard in 2022, I believe, by the Internet Engineering Task Force. And so that is now standard, right? Now, the LLMs.txt was proposed in 2024. It is not a formal standard. It's important to really remember that. Robots.txt is the official internet standard. And so we're going to look at robots.txt today, and I've also included links in my description here. You can click on my LinkedIn newsletter. You can get all the prompts. It's a 5-step workflow. It's a multi-step agentic workflow that can help you get the file that you need to give to your developers and start optimizing right away. But it's a baseline to start for AEO, right? I've written previous articles on AEO. There's lots of things that you can do around the content generation side, developing an FAQ, writing blog posts, yada, yada. But this is like a baseline foundation that you want to get started on. And I'll explain why in this video. You'll see exactly why. I wanted to touch on the unpredictability nature, the unpredictableness of LLMs, right? Everyone knows this. They know that LLMs are unpredictable. They're awesome. They can go really amazing things, but they can tend to forget in the context of new model upgrades and fine tuning, right? I want to just mention that. This is a really deep topic. It's an extremely technical topic, but usually if you have a baseline LLM and you try to fine tune it or train it on new information, it has shown signs of forgetfulness, forgetting information it was previously trained on. And the reason why it's important in the context of SEO, of AEO, is that if you're going to have newer, powerful models in the future, we don't know what those models are going to look like. We don't know if there's new architecture being developed. We don't know if there's different kinds of scaffolding happening around these models to improve it. We just don't know, right? And so, especially with new training data, it could forget, basic things. It may not forget, the core base training data. I think that's that's an important part to these models. But I think you get the point. Let me just go to the next point. Okay. Stochasticity. What that means is really LLMs use a temperature setting to adjust randomness, right? It's really, the temperature setting helps LLM decide how creative you really want it to be. You can go super creative or you can go, really less creative. And most B2B use cases need the temperature to be at very low creativity levels. You want it to be as deterministic as possible. See, traditional software was very deterministic, right? You knew what to expect. It was very binary in that sense. Like you knew what to test for. It was pretty straightforward. There were still bugs, but you knew what to test for. LLMs are very probabilistic, right? If you look under the hood, they're really statistical models that are trying to predict the next best word. I think everyone knows this by now. And so when you're trying to optimize for something that's probabilistic, that is pretty hard. That's why it's important for you to understand that about answer engine optimization. You're trying to brute force determinism into something that is architecturally probabilistic. Hallucinations. Now, you know what hallucinations are. If you've used a chatbot, you've probably got a false response, right? And so these models are not super confident in all their, it's becoming increasingly better. It's becoming really good. This is not a super important feature to talk about in the context of AEO, but nonetheless, it's important to understand that, okay, I can optimize for AEO, but I also risk the chance of an LLM returning information about my business that may not be completely accurate because it's synthesizing across different sources, and sometimes when it does that, it could return information that isn't fully correct. This is not super relevant in the context of AEO. I just want to disclose that. Prompt sensitivity totally is, because a lot of companies are trying to simulate prompts from users across different chatbots, and they're trying to simulate answers and see if your business gets mentioned in those responses. The reason why I think that this is probably not the best way to go about it is because of memory. That's right, I said memory, because chatbots like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, these chatbots have memory baked into it, right? What this means is it remembers your past interactions. It remembers important points that you wanted to remember about your life, about your business use cases, right? And when you're trying to simulate prompts in which your business might actually get mentioned or show up, you don't have access to those users' to their memory. You have no idea how an LLM or how ChatGPT might be optimizing its perpetual memory to provide a customized response to another user. It is probably going to give them a response that they really want to hear, or a response that's more aligned with their preferences, right? And so LLMs are brittle. Like tiny changes in wording can like change outputs. Okay, so this should actually encourage you, because it should give you more. Just going through these last 4 or 5 points should help you understand what's actually possible here with the AEO, what's not, right? So we still need to do everything, I think, to optimize to optimize your business to show up in search. You can create FAQs, you can create content in a way that is structured for LLM parsing, like question and answer formats. Is so much about that. I've created articles on that on my LinkedIn newsletter, Wealth Management Prompts. You can check that out. But at a baseline, we still don't know yet. We still don't know how these models can be optimized for search, because there's no standard protocol. And unless you have a standard protocol like robots.txt, there's no point looking at it. However, we do know that that companies like OpenAI are using robots.txt as a standard retrieval protocol, right? So you can see right here that it says OpenAI uses web crawlers and user agents to perform actions for its products, either automatically or triggered by user request. Each setting is independent of others. For example, a webmaster can allow OpenAI search bot to appear in search results, while disallowing GPTBot to indicate that crawled content should not be used for training OpenAI's generative models. For search results, please note it can take 24 hours from a site's robots.txt update for our systems to adjust. Keep a note of that. Like, if you've not updated your robots.txt file, now's a good time to get started. OpenAI is kind of like giving you a low-hanging fruit here to start at a baseline to optimize your business. Get started. It's pretty simple. I have a hyperlink in my LinkedIn newsletter. The link is in the description. So the search bot, what does the search bot do? So it has different types of, so OpenAI has these user agents that it uses for retrieving information off the web, right? A search bot is used to link and surface websites in search results and ChatGPT search features, right? It helps ensure your site appears in search results. So we recommend using OpenAI search bot in your site's robots.txt file and allowing requests from your published IP ranges below. Okay, so there is a little bit of technical bits around this, which is why I created the newsletter and the prompts. You can click the link in the description and get the prompts, and you can run this workflow yourself with the help of a developer. But I think you should be able to, it's a 5-step workflow, right? And you can go through that entire workflow and you can get your final robots.txt file. It has everything that you've needed. I've already accounted for OpenAI search bots. So there's a sneaky GPT too, though. GPTBot is used to make our generative AI foundation models more useful and safe. Yes, of course, OpenAI. It is used to crawl content that may be used in training our generative AI foundation models. Disallowing GPTBot indicates a site's content should not be used in training foundation models. If you have information on your website, maybe you spent hours a week creating really great content that is bespoke to your clients. Maybe it's like market commentary, I don't know, whatever it is, like information that you don't want the GPT bot to get access to train its models. Like OpenAI is only going to use this to train its models. Okay, they're not going to use this to cite you. There's no way to cite a firm in training data. Okay, it just goes straight into the training data set and it's used to train the models. Your firm never gets mentioned. So a hint is to disallow GPT bot from training on your information. So there are 3 different bots here, right? You have your OpenAI search bot, you have ChatGPT user agent, which I've not covered, but it's generally allowed. So that's an agent that's generally allowed. It's ChatGPT user agent is basically optimizes for user queries, right? It takes a user's request inside ChatGPT or inside custom GPTs and returns back a response by searching for information across the web. It slightly differs from the search bot, but I'll let you read the newsletter so you can get all the information there. Okay. So that's Sneaky GPT, and in wealth management prompts, I create new content like this every single week, and I make it actionable as possible, right? This is not fluff. It's not just content to show you how much I know about AI. I try to make it really actionable so that firms can actually implement, because there's so much of garbage out there, honestly. There are so many people trying to peddle this whole AEO thing, and I think there's a market for it. I think it's like there's definitely a solid case to be made for like why it needs to be worked on, why firms need to be optimizing for that. But these systems are not predictable, and we want to optimize for best predictability, but it's not fully deterministic yet. So I hope you got the point, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel here. I try to create content every single week, and in the next few weeks, we'll also be having interviews with financial services leaders. So tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for watching.